Yeah, so welcome to the first episode of this new podcast. We have been waiting for this a long time, and today is the perfect date to do it. Welcome, Fari. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited for this to start. I think it's super beautiful to share this.
Yeah, me too. And I feel very excited about the way we gonna do this podcast. That we basically don't have a script or a schedule, and that we just feel into the day and what comes. And I have kind of a feeling about the topic already from the message you sent me in the morning. And so maybe for all the people who are listening, the idea of this is the New Earth Love podcast, where we try to create more understanding and between the masculine and the feminine, and also just spread the unity consciousness and tribe vibes out there for people to connect. And something that came to me this morning in the yoga was community is the medicine, connection is the cure. How do you feel about that?
Mm. Community is the medicine.
Community is the medicine, connection is the cure.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yes, that sounds very beautiful. Yes, I had to think of it. It's very deep.
It is. So, yeah, I'm super curious. Like, this is the first time we're doing this and where it's gonna flow topic wise. I mean, we have a very pure intention to create more love and peace in the world, more authenticity, more understanding, more compassion, and more
Mhm,
trust.
mhm.
And yeah, actually, today, for the very first time that we do this, is the 5th of May. And you have been sending me this 5-5
Yay!
portal. I'm just gonna read a little bit. On 5th of
Yes,
May
yes.
2024, we welcome the 5-5 portal, the gateway of change. The energy on this
Mm-hmm.
day is ripe, marking the ultimate portal of transformation and enlightenment. It's time to see elements of our lives as they are and not just as we perceive them. How does that resonate with
Mm-hmm.
you, my dear?
Yes, and that's the resonate. That's why I sent it to you. I feel like things are starting to really go to a different direction. By saying that, it's also, yeah, numbers have something in them. And a lot of time, I don't want to put it in those concepts or contacts, but at the same time, when I read it, I was like, wow, yes, I do feel it.
Hmm.
So it resonates with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't read the whole text now, but what I got from it is really what I actually wanted to talk about today. It kind of it's under my fingernails that I wanna speak about that. That this is really a very amazing topic to cover for the first time we're doing this. That it's a time in the collective, and I feel it for myself. I feel it for you. I feel it for most of the people I'm deeply connected with, where we cannot do any bullshit anymore, like where only what is really for us, the people, the places, the activities, even the food that is really you wants to be there. And there's so much like the craving for that synchronicity and that authenticity that whatever is not 100%, even if it's just 80 or 90%, is like it creates a kind of a pain and the resistance that is so strong that it needs to go away. That's something I'm observing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Yes.
can you say a few things about that? Do you feel that as
Yes, I do really feel like, yes, the more we become aware of ourselves, the more our body talks to us, the more our intuition talks to us. And what's I feel with myself is that suddenly I start having this feeling, oh, lemon with water in the morning every day. That feels so good for my body when I have it. It's like I feel it going into my cells out of nothing. And it just
mm,
I felt like I wanted, I was craving for it. And then once I started doing it on a regular basis, I felt so um I felt it really nurturing for my body. And then also with the food, exactly the same. It just processed food doesn't work. It doesn't even taste good anymore. I can't
Mm,
even have it. And my body is just telling me so um, strongly what it needs. And it speaks to me so strongly what it doesn't want. And the same goes with my social capability, like social qualities that I have, like
mm,
with people. Like, am I go into this place because I want to please people, or it's like the awareness is just there. I cannot escape it. I cannot just do because it's assumed. I cannot just do things because it's expected. The awareness is so present that anything else that doesn't isn't me or isn't not coming from a good space just doesn't work anymore. And uh, and sometimes my body has to adjust to it. Sometimes my mind has to adjust to it.
mm,
But once I listen to everything that my body says, that my awareness is telling me, and I listen to it, and it feels so good. It just feels me.
mm-hmm,
And anything that doesn't resonate with my authentic being, that doesn't feel good anymore. And yeah, there is no other way for me anymore than just following what my authentic being wants. And I'm not fighting it anymore. My mind is I try to meditate a lot so that my mind is not taking over, and my being, my soul, my being, my authentic being is the one in charge now.
mm,
And I
beautiful.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, I can totally resonate. And what you said there, like kind of you are maybe in a social setup that you're used to, and where you used to put certain
Mhm.
mask, and then like trying to put that mask and it doesn't stick anymore, it falls off straight away. This experience I have it as well. And what you said about like you can't but follow what is true for you. You mentioned like one thing that I think I want to highlight because it's so important, listening to the body, that the truth is in the body and not in the mind.
Mhm.
That's, I think, a very
Mhm.
valuable thing to take away for people who are listening, because it is
Yes.
confusing, right? When we try to do things we used to do and they don't feel right anymore, and then there's this confusion and even the feeling of lostness and loneliness in that confusion. And it also, I feel it needs to be there. I had actually that conversation with a couple of people now who tell me like, "Oh, I'm feeling so lost, and I don't know what to do with it." And
Mhm.
and just something very important that I needed to hear and that I like to tell people in that situation is really okay to feel lost.
Mhm.
If this is
Yes.
authentic for you right now to be lost and to not know, don't try to hide it. Otherwise, you're gonna suffer even more, right?
Yes. And for me, most important thing is learning to love feeling lost.
Learning to love feeling lost.
Learning, yes. So not to push it away, to judge it,
Mm-hmm.
but to love it, to say, okay, I feel lost, but you know what? I love it. I love, it's part of me at this moment, and I love it because it's for a reason there. And if
Mm-hmm.
you want to bring love in every part of us, we also have to bring love in the parts that we're judging or which are considered not okay. And this is how we can bring love in that acceptance of, hey, you know what? I feel lost, but it's okay. It's part of me. And in this moment, I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to love it. I'm going to
Mm.
try to love it. And once we put that in that light chain, this is how I feel in that love frame or in that love box. And it's suddenly it gets much more subtle. It's like there's no fight inside of you. Oh, I feel lost. I have to do something. I have to figure out something. I like what we have always been used to, that there's always a solution for feeling lost. But actually really saying, you know what? Yes. And I love that part of me
Mm-hmm.
in this moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is what starts working for me very well.
Yes, you're freezing once in a while. I hope you can hear me. I don't know, you're on the
Yes, I
Wi-Fi.
hear you. Yeah,
Maybe
I
if
think
there's
there's a
any
little bit
chance you
of
go
a
to mobile
glitchiness.
data, maybe that is more stable, so we have not the cuts inside.
Mm,
Shall we try
I
that?
don't know if the mobile it's it,
There you are. I just
yes, do
needed
you
to
hear me?
reconnect. I do, I do.
Okay.
I think that's more stable. Just
Yeah, okay.
yeah, because
Let's
before
see.
there was
Let's
like
see.
this glitches, and just because we're gonna keep recording, it's maybe
See.
nicer. And yeah, you mentioned loving yourself. What does that mean? And how do you do it practically? Like, what could you tell people who are maybe lost and who want to do that? You know, they want to love themselves, but they just don't know how, and they keep rejecting themselves.
I think what we have identified love is with something that is maybe we have, I feel for myself, this is obviously all from my own perspective, how I have to redefine what love is. Love is what we already are.
Hmm.
And what is, for me, disconnecting that love, that's the acceptance and fully embracing the fullness of ourselves, is all those layers that we have put on that love, belief systems,
Mm.
programs, which is disconnecting what we already are. So by starting to see it from the other side, not that I have to love myself, but what is it that is not allowing me? What program, what belief system is there? What fear is there that is not allowing me to come into that state of being, which is love?
So a state of acceptance.
Going through those layers.
Hmm.
And once you come through those layers and you understand where the layers are hidden, is it in the fear? Is it in the belief system? Is it in the program? And and once you get to that understanding by investigating it, and you come to that understanding, it's very easy to say, how, okay, I see it. I see where it's coming from. And by just seeing where it's coming from, you already shine the light on it.
Mm.
And by shining the light on it, you can embrace it and you can fully accept, okay, I understand. And I understand where it's coming from. It's coming from this fear, it's coming from this program, from this
Mm.
belief system. Once you can accept accept it, because most of the time this is how it works. We want to understand.
Mm.
And for some people, this is the easiest way to be able to put lights on the program or belief system, because we're so used to use our minds. And the more you do this, at some point, you also stop wanting to understand it. You stop wanting to understand it by your mind,
Hmm. Hmm.
and you start feeling it,
Yeah.
and you start recognizing it, and you start embracing it.
Hmm.
And yeah, this is how I see it, how I see it from my perspective.
Yeah, yeah. That's why we are here to share
Yay!
perspectives. I think for me it's also
Yay!
very similar. Like love is unconditional acceptance for what is, like flow, like allowing the waves to come. And it's very easy when we imagine this yin yang symbol, yeah, with the light and the dark. It's very easy to love your light, right? Like, oh, I'm having a good day, like a good hair
Yes.
day, or maybe I'm waking up
Mm-hmm.
energized. And then in this situation, it's super
Mm-hmm.
easy to love yourself because it's kind of what
Yes.
promotes, like how you're supposed to, should, or have to feel or be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the moment something is, let's say, I don't use these labels of good, bad, right, and wrong. They are like not in my
Mm-hmm.
reality, but I do use pleasant and unpleasant. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, waking up anxious, like I did actually tonight. At 3 o'clock, I woke up and I was like full of fear. And I just really needed an hour to calm myself down. I made a tea, put some incense, did some stretching, journaling, crying, and then just coming back to my center and to really accept myself for being awake. This was what I was rejecting in that moment. Like, oh, I should sleep, right? My mind came in with this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't, because I live with other people. Ah, maybe I'm waking them up. And oh, if I start to cry now, they maybe hear it or whatever. And so, like, self-rejection, self-rejection, self-rejection. And when I caught myself doing that and saying, like, hey, Flo, but you are who you are right now, and that's for a good reason. Can you validate that? Then I could relax into that, and I was like, okay, just like holding myself, putting one hand on my heart, the other one on my belly, and just calming myself down, putting a hot water bottle, and all these like pampering, self nurturing
Mm-hmm.
things. And yeah, just even like in the morning when I woke up the second time, I was still anxious. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for my morning walk, but not to go away from my fear or not to run away from it, but taking it on the hand, like hand by hand. And then a bunch of other things in my morning routine, also connecting with my flatmate who was holding me for a moment. And I came really back to this place of calmness and like, oh yeah, this feels good. And or it feels pleasant. And really realizing that when I feel unpleasant things,
Mm-hmm.
like fear, like sadness, like anger, that it means that the
Mm-hmm.
need of mine is not being met. And
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
allowing that feeling to be there, appreciating it even as a guidance system of my body telling me, hey Flo, you need something. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
food, maybe it's a hug, maybe it's exercise, but just the
Mm-hmm.
body telling me, hey, you're not you're not doing what your being, what your body wants you to do. So just stop
Mm-hmm.
um, like pushing yourself to do something and feel into it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really it is still a process for me. I used to be so much in my mind. I used to teach mathematics. I used to have a schedule for everything, playing Tetris with my agenda, like having everything planned out and just following that schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And now kind of doing mainly the opposite of just like waking up, stretching my body, giving myself massage and just like feeling into it. What kind of day is it today while I go on my morning walk? And
Mm-hmm.
and it is for the program, you mentioned the program, the conditioning, it's
Yes. Yes.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, but the more I practice it, the more these other pathways in my brain can build.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really
Mm-hmm.
okay to have fear, but we don't have to follow it. That's maybe the message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also even accepting and loving the fear in that moment and not pushing it away. I only need to feel good. If I don't feel good, then that means that's not
Hmm.
good. No, the
Hmm.
fear is showing you something. Love it. Love it. that it's coming maybe from the past. Maybe there's something that you need to feel into. Maybe it's a emotion in your body, feeling. There are, yeah, there are so many tools you can use these days to get into either emotion or the feeling, to
Hmm.
to research it, where it's coming from, and then to just allow it to be there and not push it away.
Hmm.
We have
Maybe.
so much, we are so conditioned that we always have to feel good
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
happy and
exactly.
positive. No,
Yeah, yeah.
no. Where's
And
the growth in that?
it's this transgenerational thing, right? That our caregivers, parents, teachers, that they also have been probably rejected as children for not being always happy. So they cut off this part that is sad, that is angry, that is anxious,
Hmm.
and teach you the same. Because the moment you would allow these emotions as a child, it would trigger that. And maybe also a little bit the background you just mentioned, emotion and feeling. Just for those who don't know, like in the context we use that comes from possibility management, which means um, feeling is something that arises in the moment. For instance, you're sitting in the sun and you're feeling the warmth and feeling joyful. And an emotion can also, of course, arise in the moment, but it's not directly connected with that situation, but based on a trauma, which means situation prior in your life, yeah, in the past, where an emotion, yeah, is still stuck in your body and in your energetic system that wants to be released, so you come more into the now, into the present moment, and into alignment with yourself. So just
Hmm.
wanted to mention that because you said like emotion and feeling, just that it's
Yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, just to highlight it as well, I think this is something that in the mainstream is not very known because we just see it as one.
Mhm.
But already knowing that there is a difference between our emotions and feelings already brings so much awareness because you can feel into it. Is this an emotion? Is this coming from a past experience? Is this connected to a past emotion? Something happened in the past that, like, for example, yeah, for example, I mean, the emotion of being angry. Being angry is, I think me and you have talked about this before, that it's the, if it's a feeling, then we can use that anger and we can see where someone is crossing our boundaries.
Mhm.
And when it's an emotion, then you can see, hey, there is a situation that happened in the past which I wasn't able to put any boundaries. Someone crossed my boundary there, but that feeling that it's still in my body, I
Mm.
feel it. And we actually did the other day some anger release, and that was super powerful for the people that are not aware of that. I think this is also a nice topic to bring up at some point. But if it's an old emotion, we can release that.
Mhm.
And if it's in a moment, if it's in a feeling, we can see, hey, wait a minute, where is our boundaries being crossed? And let's do an investigation about it. Let's see what it is. So this is a very, for me, has been helping me a lot in my in my in my self-reflection.
Mhm. What is a boundary?
Boundary for me is where there is certain, you could call it morals, values, needs, which I am aware of, but in the moment someone is crossing them. And if for me it's for like a big boundary would be respect.
Mhm.
But again, you can dive deeper into that. What is the definition of respect for me, or what is the definition of respect for someone else? For me, respect is the way someone talks to me. I
Mhm.
like to be respectful to people, so I have the value or the moral that I respect people and I like people to respect me. And this is a very strong boundary of
Hmm.
mine. And when someone is not respectful through the words they're using to me, to and it's really crossing my boundary. It's really crossing the values I have.
Hmm.
And sometimes I mean, most of the time, it's such a big trigger that it comes up and I feel it. And then I think the art in it is okay, I feel it, do I react, which I used to do. I would react
Hmm.
right away. And then it's like someone is poisoning you and you give that poison right away back to
Hmm.
someone. Or am I holding it and putting it in my system and just not saying anything and it goes into my system? Or is the third one, it's I take it and I also look inside of me and I see, hey, okay, this is actually connected to a very strong value of mine,
Hmm.
which I have, and yeah, and I have to speak up for it, but in a gentle way from my heart.
Yeah, speaking up,
This is a boundary.
speaking up,
Yes,
speaking up, speaking up. I keep
yes.
giving lapis lazuli stone to women, by the way. That's this blue stone,
Oh,
which is like for
mm,
self-expression and authenticity. It's really it changes the game for so many people, really.
yes.
It's
It's
really
like
I
I use
can
more and more.
yeah, for all those who work with crystals and stones who are listening, high recommendation for this moment in human history where it comes all about is like finding your boundaries, which for me personally is just who you are. You are your boundaries, yeah. Expression
Mhm,
of yourself, of your values, of your needs, your feelings, what Fari just said. And really there is no, it's not really difficult even to figure out what your boundaries are. Your body will tell you just by is it comfortable or is it uncomfortable?
mhm,
And then if something is uncomfortable, or you can say, I dislike it, then a boundary is not, or is like violated. And you can speak up for that. Like, what do you need? Like, what would you rather like? And
mhm,
really to go to that layer and not blaming people for doing something wrong or bad or inappropriate or all this social uh, labels and language that comes from domination structures where it's really about you're either above or below and then this hierarchy
mhm,
thinking is coming but say no, we are horizontal, we are on the same level, but this I don't like
mhm,
and I don't have to
mhm,
justify it. I don't like it, and please
mhm,
stop or please do that or I will go. And
mhm,
that can be physical boundaries like how close or how far away a person is from you, the way they speak, the volume how they speak, or whatever kind of behavior. And also the boundaries with yourself, right? Like to not punish
mhm,
yourself or blame yourself for aspects of yourself,
mhm,
but just really, as an exercise I can recommend also like to just write on your arm or on your hand, full acceptance.
mhm,
And if you wear a watch like me, then just taking that watch off. So whenever you want to check the time, you just see, reminder, full acceptance for what is, full acceptance.
yes,
And
yes.
when we as people struggle with boundaries, it usually comes from past experiences where we conditioned ourselves or we were conditioned from our surroundings that we are not welcome the way we actually are. So we have to create a shell
Mhm,
to survive. And as
mhm,
adults, then to take that shell off and to say, like, yeah, okay, I don't need that survival cocoon
mhm,
anymore. I choose to be authentic.
mhm,
I choose to follow what feels
mhm,
light, what feels easy, what feels joyful, what feels expansive for me,
mhm,
just because I like it.
mhm.
And you and I,
Yes.
Fari, we listen a lot to Bashar, and
Yes.
that's really I resonate with him a lot. And this idea of yeah, life can actually be that easy if you just follow what feels too easy to be true. You know, like oftentimes we have this kind of thinking that something that has a value needs to be earned through hard work and through doing something you don't
Mhm,
like, so that then
mhm,
you get something you want. For instance, as a child, I heard so many times you have to eat the cabbage first before you get the chocolate dessert. I was like, no, why? Like, if I want, I eat the chocolate dessert even before starting the lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the right to say that to me, right? Yeah,
Yes, yes,
pull
yes,
that down.
yes. Yeah, I agree with it. Hmm. And for women, especially expressing themselves, and I think for men as well, I cannot speak from that side, but I think for women, because our emotions, our feelings are very complex to navigate sometimes. We get lost in them, and we lose it,
Hmm.
and we're not able to navigate it and to express it. And one thing I really, really want ex to recommend to women especially, and I speak from my experience, is if you're speaking from your heart, you will never hurt anyone. You will never damage anyone. And even if you're speaking from your heart, it does damage or hurt other people. See it as something which they can grow from. We have the tendency to want to save everyone and want to be nurturing everyone and want to be pleasing everyone.
Hmm.
So this way we can get love. But if I love someone, I actually want them to grow. And by holding back of what my heart is expressing or wanting, expressing my heart to them, I allow them, I give them possibility, as we always say that to each other as well, Flo. We
Hmm.
give them the option to grow. So expressing, expressing, expressing. Please do, please do. Just find the the tune, find the gentle way. And if you need a moment, if you need an hour, if you need a week to process before you want to express this, do it. But express, don't hold back. This is like I really want to recommend people not to hold back anymore.
Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, thank you so much for that. And what I would like to like a little bit giving the square frame of the masculine for this. um,
Yeah.
what I hear you saying with speaking from the heart, the way I define it, is to not speak in judgmental language from the mind.
Mhm.
Again,
Yes.
dropping the right, wrong,
Mhm.
good, bad, appropriate, inappropriate, beautiful, ugly, all these labels, they can go and stay out. And you
Mhm.
connect with feelings and needs.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you speak from your heart,
Yes.
what am I experiencing right now? What is happening in my body? What feeling is connected with that? And what do I need right now? Taking full responsibility. That's what I call
Mhm.
speaking from the heart, is taking responsibility for your experience by learning, and that's really something you can practice, learning the
Mhm.
vocabulary
Mhm.
of needs and feelings and speaking them directly, which is a very vulnerable thing to do. Yeah. Instead of, yeah, dude, you did this wrong, and a partner, a good friend, a mother, whatever, should do this
Mhm.
so that
Mhm.
you kind of through the back door get your needs met by shaming and blaming people, to do the opposite and say like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm feeling really hurt right now because I have a need for this and that. Would you be willing to, and then you put it in a completely different way, then your needs, your feelings become a present to the other person that they can
Mhm.
treat, a delicate present, a really vulnerable way of expressing yourself. And this is where
Yes.
intimacy comes into place. Yeah, into me, see, allowing yourself to be seen, allow yourself
Yes.
to be
Yes.
seen by speaking, like shining your light and speaking your truth are one and the same thing. And in order to
Yes.
speak your truth, you need to learn how to feel it and the vocabulary to actually bring it out. to make it accessible for people, available
Mm-hmm.
for
Yes,
people.
yes, yes. That's why self-awareness is the core of everything. Because if we don't have self-awareness, if we don't take full responsibility of everything we are feeling, everything we are thinking, even
Mm.
everything we are experiencing, if we don't investigate that and research that inside of ourselves by
Hmm.
taking responsibility, we will just we will just express, but it's not gonna come from an authentic space. I can only express my truth if I really take the time to see what it actually, why someone said something and did something, what is inside of me that is hurt. And
Hmm.
always, what I would always also recommend, which I haven't done for a really long time in my life, is speaking from an I form.
Hmm.
I feel this way. I think this way. I experience this without the blame. I think once you get into that game of I blame you for what you did, you blame me for what I did,
Hmm. Yeah.
you're just gonna end up in a spiral of
Yeah, just throwing dirt at each other, which is not helping anyone.
yes,
So it's a domination game, either I win or I lose. So I want to win, so you lose, and then everyone suffers eventually, right? Because we are all one, so you
yes,
cannot even defeat yourself and be
yes,
victorious. It's impossible.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm,
And yeah, it's super nice. Like a new thing that I like to say to myself, with the I statements that you just mentioned. Many people, let's say, express themselves with you are, yeah, which is then the labeling. And I try to allow myself to see that whenever, because I used to be very receptive for that, other people telling me who I am, because I had no idea who I am. So whenever someone was saying you are this and that and that, I took it into consideration. I'm like, am I really like this like asshole or this and that? And like to tell myself, like, when people start you are, then I can actually stop listening already. Just stop listening. People
yes,
don't know who you are. You know. The reason for you being here in this physical body as a soul incarnated is that you are you and no one else knows who you are. So if anyone else tells you you are, then it's a tragic expression of their own ability to speak needs and feelings.
hmm yes. And
And
it's such a, sorry to
yeah,
cut you off. It's
no,
such a
to
habit
just
for us to do it.
yeah, no, to just see that even with compassion, that's kind of then the next stage, like that I catch myself like, oh, someone says you are, okay, so I don't buy it. It's like someone giving you a muffin and you're like, no, I don't want it. Okay, yeah. So if someone says that
Mhm.
you are, I don't listen to it. I try to listen what is the need and the feeling of that person behind it with compassion rather than taking it personal, which works
Mhm.
sometimes, and sometimes, of course, I get triggered. Every person gets triggered. So sometimes I'm getting angry
Yes,
or upset or whatever,
yes.
and then I express that.
hmm
Um, yes.
And I think we can also use it as a mirror sometimes to really, but sometimes if someone tells me, for example, you're blonde, I'm
Mm,
so aware that I'm not blonde
yeah.
that it doesn't even trigger me.
Yeah. Or
And
you're a
sometimes
blue
when it,
elephant. Or you're such a blue
yeah,
elephant.
yeah. I mean, so it's like it doesn't even come into my personal
Yeah.
space. But sometimes when someone says something and we don't have that awareness inside of ourselves, it's also good to use it as a mirror
Mm,
to just look at ourselves and say, hey, wait, I never thought about it. Do I really have blonde hair, for example? If I
mm,
wasn't aware of my blonde hair and someone gives that as a mirror to me, and I can also look at it
mm-hmm,
to really investigate because my whole purpose is growing.
mm-hmm,
So if someone tells me something which I am not aware of in myself of my behavior, I can always look at it. There is no hurt in looking at
mm-hmm,
what someone says. And then I'm like, oh, I never thought about this. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
maybe this person is giving me actually
Mm-hmm.
something, and I can decide to change that. And I feel then the change is for my own good because I vibrate higher. I go
Mm-hmm.
into a higher by shedding light to something that I wasn't aware of. So it's all good, you know?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. And in this case, like something I realized, like if someone says something about me or about you that deeply resonates, the soul cannot but recognize it. The heart is realizing the truth in the moment. It's like, ah, yes, you know. And if there's not the hell
Mm-hmm.
yes, if you're like, I'm not sure about this. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really like the way I try as mindfully as possible to communicate when because I oftentimes think and feel that I see something in people that they might not see in themselves. I ask, do
Mm-hmm.
you allow me to tell you an observation, or can I mirror you something? I
Mm-hmm.
really try to do that because I really know how it feels to receive judgment or, let's say, guidance, even if it's well meant, when
Mm-hmm.
it's not appreciated, let's say.
Yeah, I love
Um,
that. I love that you
yeah.
do that. Yes.
Yeah, in German language, we have a word for advice, which is called Ratschlag. And the word Schlag, which is in the end, means hit. So
Mm-hmm.
there's something I learned in my studies when I studied to be a teacher, which in the educational classes, we said like Ratschläge sind auch Schläge, which means advice is also just another hit. Like if it's not
Mm-hmm.
requested, let's say, if the
Mm-hmm.
other person is not
Mm-hmm.
open to receive.
Yes. Or gets defensive.
Yeah, which is kind of the same thing, no?
Yeah, and if you allow someone to make that decision and take responsibility for what you want to say,
Mm,
it also goes so much more smoothly because
yeah.
then I cannot tell you, why did you tell me this? Because I
Yeah.
give you the permission to tell me. So I take responsibility for it and I work on it if I want to.
Yeah, yeah. The energy is completely different. I was recording this morning a message to a friend who is right now in Kopanjan, actually. I met her in Bali and
Mm,
she's coming back to France soon.
yeah,
And
nice.
yes, yes, yes. And she shared with me also that she feels quite lonely and lost at this moment. And I had I call that download, like just some insights coming to me that might help her. So I was recording a message and I was reflecting on what she said. And I said, if you allow me some guidance or some insights, please keep listening. If you don't, please stop right now. And then I repeated. So really, if you don't want to hear any advice, just stop the audio right now. And then I was just
Mhm.
like giving myself permission to say what was coming to me. And let's see, maybe it helps her, maybe not. It helped me for sure to express it. Like some aspect of
Mhm.
her that I feel in me was vibrating. That's why all these things came. And
Mm.
so it might be of service, maybe not. It was just something that I wanted to express. Like my need was to
Yeah,
express it, and I hope it helps
yeah.
her. And she has every
Yes.
option to listen to it or not, or if she listens to it, to take it in or not. That's then not my responsibility.
It's also the intention you put. I
Hmm.
think the intention where we do I have do I want to give this feedback because I feel I'm superior to someone and I feel I know more? Or
Mm.
do I have the intention that, hey, I have the experience and I would like to share with you my experience. And this you can either take or not take, but at least I know from myself where the intention is coming from. The
Mm.
intention is coming from a pure space. It's not
Hmm.
coming from the ego. It's not coming from, oh, I know everything much better than you do, but it's really coming from a humble space where I feel like, hey, I had this experience before, or maybe I feel this way. So
Mm.
it's always about I feel the intention behind what we speak, and then it's all good. It's always good. If your intention is good, whatever you say, it's good.
Mm. Do you want to play a little game, Fari?
Um, why not? What is the
Yeah,
intention?
I can start. Yeah, yeah. It's just because we spoke so much now about expressing yourself authentically and all this, and maybe just like taking a moment and feeling inside of our bodies. And if you like, you can start, or I can start, whatever you prefer, and just expressing how do you feel right now.
Um,
Would you like to
I can
start?
express, yes.
Hmm?
I feel lots of gratitude. I feel gratitude for the fact that I have people like you around me, which is a constant growth. And and I think this is such a beautiful way, and I think you're doing it in such a beautiful way, Flo. I think you're so amazing with doing this kind of things. And yeah, so I feel very grateful to be in this space with you and to be sharing our usual talks actually. And to share that with the world. And I feel also free. I feel free in the fact that I'm in a space where I feel um the words and the trust inside of myself that I can do this, that I can just express my perspective. And yeah, I'm really happy to be in this space where I can finally, in a way, come out of the closet with with who I am and fully be okay with whatever I share with confidence. And if people like it or don't, it doesn't do me anything. What I do feel is this is who I am, and I want to share this. I would love to. I mean, I think this is such a great way to also reach a wider audience and to create the friendship me and you have with each other, to create that with the rest of the world, to share our perspectives, to share our ideas, to share our process. So I'm really happy to be in that space. And I feel this is also part of my throat
Mm.
opening up by allowing me to express my being, who I am, who I have become. And I feel I have shed a lot of layers in my life. And I think the layer I am it um, is the layer that I want to share because it's very close to who I am. It is who I am. It's finally, I feel like I've found myself. And yeah, just very grateful for the space.
Mm.
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 So
Thank
this is it.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you.
I love you.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm. Mm. I'm feeling. I'm feeling. Mm. Very joyful and grateful after your share. Very excited to be in that space to share with you and to share it with others what we share with each other, which I was really waiting for to come into being. And I think it's a perfect moment right now.
Mm-hmm.
I had in the beginning of this call, I felt a certain tension in my throat and in my chest, like a certain
Mm-hmm.
nervousness. And I was like, okay, just noticing it. And also at the same time noticing that I have so much trust and yeah, trust is the word that is coming. So much trust in you and in myself that this is a safe space to just share and to the vibration of what we are doing here to just really open our hearts and let out what is there. That just I want to trust also that this is valuable for people, that I don't have to try hard, that we don't have to try hard what we say here, write a script and even if I feel a little bit tense because it's the first time and my throat might be a little bit cranky and maybe a certain tension there, and like, yeah, it's okay. I'm still happy to be here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And right now I feel more like that this tension is changing into a warm feeling of expansion and tickling and like just this like pleasure in giving and in sharing all this and just um, how easy it is to do this with you. Yes,
Mm.
celebration, celebration. Mm. I'm feeling even like a little bit high in a way, like yeah, like something that's a sensation I experience more and more these days, like a certain clouds or numbness in my head so that my mind is more quiet and is like from the distance coming in and trying to give some maybe judgments or labels or trying to control things and there's so much cotton candy in my brain that it doesn't work, so I can't but just express what is coming in the moment, um, which feels very vulnerable. I'm not gonna hide that. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It feels very exposed. But I mentioned the word intimacy and authenticity already. So this is the way I want to present myself to the world and how I want to connect with other people as well. And
Mhm.
it is a really good, let's say, doorkeeper for what people I attract. Because someone who is like super triggered by that and doesn't want to handle that, it's totally fine for me. Like the let's say the tribe vibe and the unity consciousness that we promote, you and I, it's not for everyone, and that's totally fine. But I will stay
Mhm.
in that space, surround myself with amazing people like you who speak that language, who have that same value system, and to just keep shining that and trusting
Mhm.
that the right people are gonna come on my path, and it is happening. And like being the
Mhm.
next first domino for for a bunch of other people and celebrating life together. Hmm.
Mhm. Yes. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So yeah, I'm feeling lit up. I'm feeling very curious also how in the future this is gonna go. And one thing I would love to maybe end with to share both of us also how you mentioned in the beginning, or we spoke about this like the energy of change and what is not 100% for me, for you, needs to go. And maybe if you like, just a personal share, one thing that has changed recently.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, just one thing, just as an inspiration for
Um,
others.
for me, I think something that has really changed is really looking at my thoughts, being aware of the thoughts of the mind, because we cannot close down the mind. The mind is there for a reason, but becoming aware of the thoughts is something that has been strongly, strongly changed in me lately, which which has allowed me to be in the present moment. And sometimes I do. catch myself being completely into the thoughts. And once I become aware of it, I look at it from a higher perspective, and then it's like, why do I look it from only this perspective? And why am I not looking from a beautiful, loving perspective? And so I do that a lot with my thoughts these days, and it's changing my life.
Mm,
Yes.
nice.
Hmm. And you?
I think one thing that comes now very strongly in my relationship with money.
Hmm.
And I had a car accident, as you know, like a few weeks ago, where fortunately no one was injured but the cars. And what really changed for me in that moment, it's a little bit of a bigger story. Like I'm letting go of a lot of things right now because I choose to let go of Tenerife as a place of living and will travel. So over the last 7 years, I have accumulated a lot of stuff, including the car, which is the most expensive possession that I have. And I had like this, okay, I want to sell these things that I want to let go of for the highest price I can on the second-hand market. And I got really anxious about this, like I want to get the most money out of it so that I don't waste it, you know? And
Hmm.
then the moment I hit my car, because I was even the guilty one, as they say in the system for the accident, like from the police point of view, I was the guilty one. So I had to pay a lot of money. Instead of having already sold my car, I had to pay quite a significant amount of money for the repair. And in that moment, I could really let go. I was like, okay, like all the things that I have, maybe I get something for it. Mm, the most important is that the energy can travel and that someone is appreciating it. And I gave a lot of things for free away. I still have some things that I want to sell, but eventually, if the moment is here, because I have a deadline when I leave, when I need to leave, or like when I choose to leave, and it's still stuff here, I'm just gonna give it away for free. And with trust, that's the biggest thing. That's coming again, again, the trust in energy that
Hmm.
whatever I give will in some way, shape, or form come back to me without the expectation, just for the pleasure of giving. And also the workshops that I'm doing, I do one on Tuesday and I did one last full moon. Um, I don't take money for that. I did a sound healing for a group of 10 people, no one paid. I'm totally fine with it. I will do an authentic relating workshop on Tuesday, and I write in the description, this is a free event. Donations are welcome, but not obligatory. So really,
Hmm.
the, in whatever way, if it wants to come back to me, it will. And I'm very blessed. You know, I have amazing people like you in my life. I have an income. I have everything I need and more. So I don't work for money anymore, or like I don't focus on money. Also with the vision that I have for the future, with that retreat center that I'm envisioning, it's not for the money. It's just I want to live there. I want to create a lifestyle for myself and the people I love that is amazing just by
Hmm.
itself, and then
Hmm.
it will sustain itself in a way. But it's not the focus. It's not the focus to make a lot of money so that I create some kind of
Hmm.
identity. And I
Hmm.
yeah, I notice also how the genuine support I receive from my friends, and where I'm really received in whatever state, that this is giving me a feeling of safety. And back in the day, some years ago, when I was still working very hard with a job that I didn't appreciate, it was really working for money so that I feel more safe by the numbers on my bank account.
Hmm.
I fell for that illusion more money on my account would create more safety. But
Hmm.
eventually, we are monkeys, right? And what makes us feel safe is a feeling of belonging and that someone cares for us if we are fully authentic and allow ourselves to be seen, and that people not running away, but that they stay with us and nurture us in whatever state. This is why I experience as most. healing, for feeling safe and stable and welcome, not the money. So this is what I wanted to share.
Mhm.
Yes. Amazing. Any last words for today from your side?
No, just thank you for creating this place.
Yeah, thank you for co-creating it with me. I
Mm.
wouldn't do all this channeling, whatever you want to call it, by myself, probably.
Mhm.
So thank you for co-creating it.
Yay.
And just sending lots of love and appreciation on the path of everyone who is listening still, if you're still listening. Hmm. Yeah, we try to be of service and enjoy what we're doing at the same time. So hope that is received. And talk to you next time. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.